And welcome back to another video, and today I am doing one of the most highly requested videos on my channel probably ever, other than my GFX tutorial. This is going to be a tutorial on how to make animations for intros and pretty much whatever you want in Blender 2.8. So I will be showing you guys how to animate your Roblox character to get a super cute animation. So if you are excited, please be sure to leave a big thumbs up on this video, and also if you have not seen my main GFX tutorial yet, please be sure to check that out. I'll have it linked in the info card in the top right corner. It'll give you a lot of good information that you need to know about Blender 2.8, so please be sure to check that out. And anyways, I guess we will just get started. So right now I just have my woman rig loaded. You can use pretty much any rig that you want to animate. I am just going to be using the woman rig because my character has the woman package. I'll have a couple different rigs linked down in the description below, including a blocky rig, a woman rig, boy rig, man rig, pretty much any rig you would need. I will try to link them down in the description below. So I am just going to add in my character's textures and things really quick. I will also have my woman rig tutorial linked in the info card so you can check that out and know how to use the woman rig. Alrighty, so I just loaded in my character's texture and her accessories, and also I'm going to be going over to the camera on the right side, and where it says render engine, I'm going to be actually selecting Eevee today, because in my opinion, I like to do animations in Eevee because I feel like they render a lot faster, because Eevee is just faster at rendering. It's more of a real-time render engine, unlike Cycles, but you can do your animation in either rendering engine that you like. I just prefer Eevee because it goes a little bit faster. I'm also going to turn up the samples, I think, to maybe like 100 so we get a little bit of higher quality, and now we can get started. So really quick, I'm going to be adding in a background like we are doing an animation for an intro, but you can use whatever background you like. You can even load in a room from Roblox Studio if you want to, so you can also do that, or I'm just going to be using a colored wall. I will also be doing a room tutorial in the future of how to add a room and props and everything to your GFX and animations, so let me know down in the comments if you are excited for that video and would like to see it. But first, how to add a background. You're going to hit Shift A on your keyboard, go to Mesh, and select Plane. Now we are just going to go to the side by using this axis at the top and going to the side and rotating it using R, just like this. Try and get it straight. And then we are going to use G to drag it to the background, and then pretty much we can use Shift and the tilde key on our keyboard to move around and look at it, and I'm going to use S on my keyboard to scale it up until it is a nice background size. And now what we can do is, when we have our background selected, on the right side go down to the textures or materials tab, I guess it would be called, hit new, and then just add in whatever color you would like for your background. Right now we are actually in solid view mode, so to see the color you just hit Z on your keyboard and select material preview, just so we can see the color, and I think I will just go for a nice cute like pink color, maybe like a pinkish orange or maybe a purplish pink. That's pretty cute. Alright, so now we have our background and we are ready to start animating. So pretty much how we are going to animate, what we are going to do is take this little line down here and drag this up. It should already be the timeline, but if it is not, all you need to do is go over to the left side, click this icon and select the clock or the timeline, and this is where we will be animating today. So this is all the frames that we will be animating. We can make it as long or as short as we like. Right now it is 250 frames. So what we are going to do is we are going to go to keying and active key set. We are going to click that just right here with the little keys, and we are going to go down to lock rot, and pretty much that means location and rotation. So when we animate, we are going to set keyframes where, let's say our arm is in one position and then we set a keyframe where it's in another position. This will make it so when we make a keyframe, it will remember the location and the rotation. So if you're going to be doing things with scale, you would select location, rotation, and scale. But for now, we are only going to be doing location and rotation. So we are going to select 𝐿𝐴𝐸, which sounds very funny. All right, now we are ready to start animating. So we are going to add a camera using Shift A and selecting camera, and make sure you are in object mode and not pose mode or it will not work. Just add a camera and set that up where we want it to be. So I am just going to go like right here for our animation. And first, what I like to do is I like to animate my character and then I like to animate the camera. So we can actually animate the camera so it goes back and forth just for an interesting look. But right now, I'm just going to set up my character and then we will do the camera. So pretty much how we are going to animate is we are going to set up a keyframe for each sort of rig piece that we are moving. So I think first we are going to make our character so they are waving, but you can do whatever you like. So first we are going to make sure we have 0 selected on our timeline down here and select a rig piece we are going to move. And of course make sure you are in pose mode. I think I am going to start at the beginning of the animation with my character's arm in the air like she is waving. So just set it up like the pose you would like at the beginning of your animation. Just like this. And of course animations can take a little while, so make sure just to take your time and make sure you like how it looks. So I think we'll start with this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so her arm moves up and down just for a basic animation. When you have your rig piece where you like it, what you need to do is make sure you have it selected and hit I on your keyboard to add a keyframe. Now at the bottom, we are going to move our little blue timeline thingy. I'm sorry, I'm not sure of the word. I guess our cursor forward a little bit. I think I'll move it to maybe 10 frames. And then I am going to move the arm down like she is waving, just like this. And we are going to hit I on our keyboard. Now I'm going to move it up to 20 and move it back up like she's waving back up again, you know, like up and down. Hit I on our keyboard to add a keyframe. And now if you take your cursor back to the beginning at 0, you can hit the play button right here and see what your animation looks like. So as you can see, she is waving. So now that we did that, I think we are also going to animate this part of her arm, like the elbow, because the elbow is just kind of stiff. So we are going to animate that as well. So first, make sure, of course, that you start at 0 down on your timeline and add a keyframe where you want it to begin. So just making sure our mouse is up here, we are going to hit I to add a keyframe. And now I am going to go over to frame 5. And I'm going to move her arm up a little bit just like this. Add I for a keyframe and then go to 10 and make her arm go back down. Just like this. I just accidentally added a keyframe. With R, I'm going to rotate it, hit I to add a keyframe, and now we can watch our animation again. So go back to the beginning and hit play. And of course, it kind of looked a little bit weird. I'm not the best at animation, but pretty much that is how you animate in Blender 2.8. At least how you animate your character. We can animate anything the same way, anything you select. So even, I mean, this is just for example purposes, but we could even animate this wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it to the side, just like this. And we are, of course, going to start at 0 on our timeline and hit I to add a keyframe at its beginning part. I'm going to move up to maybe like 10 and then move the wall to the second point I want it at. Just like this, if I can get it to move. I keep hitting the wrong button. There we go. Okay, now that I moved it, hit I to add a keyframe, and as you can see, if we hit play, the wall is moving as well. So really, you can animate whatever you want to in Blender. I'm going to move the wall back where it needs to be. So you can even animate your camera this way. So what I'm going to do is show you how to animate the camera if you want it to like zoom onto the scene. So first I am going to start in a different spot, maybe like over here, and make sure you have your camera selected by selecting the little outline over here to make sure you have your camera selected. You can also go add a camera view and click it to select your camera as well. and make sure you're at 0 on your timeline. Hit I to add a keyframe, and then I am going to go up to maybe frame 5, I believe, and go to our next camera position. Again, you can make it more frames or less frames depending on how fast or slow you want your animation to be. So I'm going to go over right here just like this, and when we are in our next position, hit I to add a keyframe, and then maybe at 20, I am going to make the camera go off the screen. So actually a very good way if you want a very fast motion, like for example, I'm going to show you guys something really quick. Say I wanted my camera to zoom in on my character, I wanted her to wave, and then I wanted the camera to move away. Well, if I go to frame 20 and go over here like this is the end of the animation and added a keyframe, the problem is that it will go to my character but then slowly move away when I wanted it to stay on my character and then go away. The way you can solve that is actually all you need to do is right before you want the camera to move away, or for the length of time you want your camera to stay there. So say I'm waving from 5 frames to 20 frames, that's how I animated it. Let's just say for an example. All you need to do is set a keyframe right here and it'll add this little line, and pretty much this means that the camera or whatever you're animating is going to stay in the same spot for that amount of time. And then I want the camera to go away at 25 frames. So then what I'm going to do is go to 25 frames, move the camera away, and hit I to set a keyframe. And now as you can see, the camera is going to move onto my character, stay here till 20 frames, and then move away. So that is a very helpful tip if you want something to kind of stay before it moves again. Alright, so now all I am going to do is just animate my character a little bit more, and I will show you guys my final animation. Alright, so here is the final animation that I came up with. I believe it is only about 30 frames long, but pretty much the camera zooms in on my character, she waves, and then she points and it goes to the video, or the end of the animation. So once you are done with your animation, this is how you export it into a video. What you need to do is you need to find the frame where your video or animation ends, or where you want it to end. So mine ends at about 30. As you can see, if I go to 30 on my timeline, nothing else is happening and the animation is over. So right here where it says start and end, you want to set the end to what your end frame is, so it only renders these 30 frames or however many you have. Because if we left it, it would render 250 frames, and since we're only using 30, that would be a lot of frames that just didn't need to be there or would be unused. So make sure you set it to the right amount of frames, and now we are going to get rendering. You can set any settings you want to, but make sure on the right side for right now, go to this little printer icon, and we are going to go down to output. Make sure you select file format as PNG and color depth as 16, color as RGBA. And I know you're probably wondering, why are we rendering as a PNG? Because I want this to be a video. Well, I will show you guys exactly why in just a minute. So also be sure to pick an output folder. So we are going to click this and select a folder. I am going to select my animation tutorial folder and actually make another folder inside it. So I am going to right click, new folder, and I am going to name this animation frames. So I'm just going to make that folder and then select it for where our animation is going to save, hit accept, and this is where all your animation frames are going to save. So finally, we are going to go to the top, hit render, and then render animation. Really quick before I do that, I'm just going to add in some lighting because I forgot to add in some lighting just because this is a tutorial. And of course, when we finish our animation, I want to make sure that you guys can see what's going on. So now when you are ready to render your animation, all you need to do is go to the top, hit render, and then render animation. Just click that, And what happens is it will start rendering all the frames of your animation. And you are just going to have to wait till it is finished. As you can see at the top, in the top left corner, it'll tell you what frame you're on. So we are on frame 4 or 5 right now. And actually, this is why I like rendering animations in Eevee a lot better than Cycles, because Cycles will have to render each individual frame. And if you make GFX, you know how long it can take to render in Cycles. It can take absolutely forever. So Eevee is a lot more convenient for short things like animations and stuff. So I will show you guys when all the frames are finished rendering. Okay, so as you can see, we are at frame 30 right now, so my animation is completely finished rendering. So as you can see, if we go to our folder that we made to save all our animation frames in, you can see all the different frames of our animation. And obviously they aren't in video form yet, they're just in different frames, but I will show you guys how to make that into a video right now. You are going to go into Blender, and I recommend saving and then saving this as a different file, just in case. So if you mess up during this part, you can go back to your animation file and not, you know, have the messed up file saved. I just recommend making a backup copy. So what you need to do is go to the top, hit save as, and then we are going to type in animation, maybe rendering, I believe. You can name it whatever you want, just to make sure you save this. So as you can see, if we look in our folder now, we have the original file we were using, and now we have another one that we are going to be making our animation animated in. Just in case, just as a backup, so we can always go back to the other file if there's any problems. So you are going to go up to the top of Blender, click this plus right here, go to video editing and select video editing. You are going to go to add and go to image sequence right here on your timeline. Just go right here and go to your animation frames folder. You can just hit A on your keyboard to select all of them and click add image strip. And it is going to add in your animation. So what you can do is hit play animation at the bottom of the screen right here, and it has all your animation frames just like this. Also, for some reason, sometimes Blender likes to add my frames backwards, so my animation is like playing backwards. I don't know why it likes to do that, but if your animation is loading in where it is playing backwards and not the right way, all you need to do is go over here on the right side, just in this little tab right here, go down to video, open that up, and click reverse frames. And that is just going to make sure when it saves your animation, or as you can see right now, it is going to be the right way and not the wrong way. I've actually only had this happen a couple times, so I'm not sure what makes it happen, but something does. So, not quite sure, but we just want to make sure that it is the right way. Now finally, what we are going to do is go to output right here. It is going to be in the top right. Make sure, of course, you have the printer icon selected to see it. Now we are going to select FFmpeg video. I probably said that wrong, I'm so sorry. And make sure you have RGB clicked. Alright, so after we select the file format right here, what we are going to do is go down to encoding and just select a couple of different things. We're going to open up video, and under video codec, we are going to select H.264, and then under output quality, you can pretty much pick whatever you like. I'm just going to pick medium or high quality, probably high quality. And finally, when you are done with all these things, you can just go up to the top and click render, and then render animation, and it is going to save your animation really quick. Again, it is just going to get all the frames, and instead of rendering them again like we did before, it's just going to save them all in this video editing tab. So just give it a second to save your animation. As you can see, we are about done, and that is pretty much it. So you can just X that out, and all we need to do is go to our desktop and our folder, and in here, as you can see, there is a video, and we can watch it, and here is our animation. So I actually made it super fast, so I would recommend making it a little bit longer, probably than 30 frames. Or what you can do is you can also go into your editing program and slow it down. So I didn't notice actually at the beginning of this video, but I am noticing now. I will put a little subtitle for you guys at the beginning of the video. But with only 30 frames, this animation is actually pretty quick. So just be sure to make sure your animation is a decent amount of frames. But that is pretty much it. That is our animation tutorial, and you can use this to make any type of animation you like in Blender. Like I said before, you can load in rooms, you can load in props, any sort of thing that you want to use to make your animation super fun and super unique. Or you could also just use, like I used, a colored background and make it good for an intro. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this tutorial wasn't confusing, but let me know down in the comments below if you have any questions at all. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up, and if you have not yet, please be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you do not miss any future notifications from my channel. I know this video was super highly requested. I really hope it helped you guys out, but like I said, please comment below if you have any questions at all. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!